COVID restrictions are such that are allowing that to happen.
Yeah, well, you know, a lot of people's comfort level is a little looser than mine is.
Amen on that one. I'm of the age where a lot of the activities I would normally do with Rotary, I'm sitting on because of the COVID, and I just, anyway.
Yeah. Oh, here comes Kate. Hi, Kate.
Oh, look, who's that handsome young
Yeah,
girl?
who's that with you? Who's that young lady?
Hi, long time no see.
Has been. I'm glad to see you.
Can you say hi to Glenn and Chris? I have another one here that.
Oh, looky, your little brother.
Can you say hi? Oh.
Oh,
Marie, you look very, very much older since I saw you last.
Probably been 6 months.
Yeah,
Are you? How old are you now, Eva? You want to tell them?
3.5.
oh my.
Yeah.
Do you like having a little brother?
What's his name? Do you want to tell them?
Owen.
His name's Owen, huh?
Owen.
And your brother.
Is he a good little brother?
You good? Yeah. He's a little, I don't know if you remember Eva as a baby, but she was just the quietest. She came to all the meetings, never made a sound. Oh, goodness. Woo. That was a lot. This one.
Not so
I'm
much, huh?
glad you got to see that. Yeah, this one's a little feistier.
And a snuggle, my baby boy.
Oh, okay.
He would not make it through Rotary meetings super well.
Hi, Deborah, you're driving or riding.
Your audio's off, Deborah.
Yeah, your audio's off. You need to unmute yourself, I guess, or maybe you haven't hooked it up yet.
Really loud.
All this technology. I'm taking classes to learn how to do podcasting for the district that I thought would be interesting to work in conjunction with Nick, who does the videos, and make some compelling, posts. The idea.
Yeah.
Hi, Anita.
I am going to change my background now. I need a different background.
Yeah, you've been there the last few weeks.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know what? In honor of Valentine's Day, where's that here? Okay, this is Harry Potter,
Oh,
the Harry Potter world, where I went with my son, whose birthday's on Valentine's Day.
well, my mother's birthday was on Valentine's Day, so I think of her every year at Valentine's.
Her birthday was on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, she was a
That's my
Valentine
birthday.
baby.
We share a birthday.
Oh, that's right. I
Oh.
saw that your birthday's on the 14th. So that is my son's birthday. And when he graduated from high school, all these girls came up to me and said, you know what we're really going to miss is the cookies you made every Valentine's Day. Because I mean, I always put on the Valentine's Day party because it was my son's birthday. You know, you probably, Kate, you probably had that growing up. where everybody celebrated your birthday and Valentine's Day.
Yeah, especially everybody loved it in college when no one had when like
Hey,
people
Lisa.
didn't have partners and they would just love to go out and celebrate a birthday instead of mope over Valentine's Day.
Anyhow, I'm the greeter. So hi, Sheryl. It's nice to see you. I haven't been volunteering at the Eugene Mission for a while. Sorry. And hi, Deborah and
Lisa.
Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
You only have a number, not a name.
I see that. Let me fix that.
And of course, Kate.
Hi, 4222137.
Sorry.
Of course, Kate and her 2 Rotarian children.
Oh, hi. Wow. Oh my gosh, your littles have grown. You have a new one since I've seen you last. And
I have a 6.5-month-old now. It's crazy.
Time flies. Sheryl, we're really looking forward to your program today.
Thank you so much. I love your background. That is festive.
Well, this is Valentine's Day is coming up.
It
No.
is indeed. It
We
is
have
indeed.
one birthday, Kate's birthday, Anita's son's birthday, my mother's birthday. We're doing a lot of celebrating.
State of Oregon's
Wonderful.
birthday.
The sad thing is now that he's grown up and has a girlfriend, he wants to celebrate Valentine's Day with his girlfriend
Wow.
and not his birthday with his family.
uh-oh.
Hi, Nancy. I'm the greeter. I shouldn't have eaten
Hello.
anything. Sorry.
Why does it?
Hi, John. Greetings. Welcome. Glad to have you here, John.
There's Eva and Kate.
Yeah.
Hello. And baby brother.
Olin.
Is it loud so she can hear you?
And before long, we're gonna be inducting Eva formally into Rotary. She's so big.
Those braids. I'm loving the braids. Ugh, so cute. I love your braids.
We had to have I don't think I've had braids since I was about 16. She wanted to have matching braids.
I love it.
I feel a little young for my appearance today, but
Hey,
Well, you are young, so hang on to it.
that's right.
It's not a bad thing.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you're so fortunate that you actually,
Here.
oh, your picture moved. You're so fortunate that you have one of each. You can have the girly experience and later on the boy experience.
Mhm.
Anyhow, welcome, Nick. I'm the greeter, Anita. Nice
Welcome.
to see you, especially, I had a feeling you'd be here today since Cheryl's talking about the Eugene Mission.
Yeah,
which
you
we're
betcha.
all- I'm missing not volunteering there.
Yeah.
I really,
I'm missing you.
it was very meaningful and humbling for me to volunteer at the mission because I don't have those interactions usually. You know, I
I'm so
see you,
looking forward to having folks back. It is, we really miss those connections.
I bet. COVID's really thrown a wrench in all of our
yeah,
daily life, daily work, volunteering, everything.
Mhm.
traveling to Pakistan. But today I'm not in Pakistan in honor of my son's birthday, which is on Valentine's Day. I was trying to think of a background.
In
I
Edinburgh.
went to Hogwarts,
I was gonna say.
where I traveled
very-
to with my
Yeah.
son. Little whimsical today. Good afternoon, Grace. I'm the greeter.
Good before noon, Anita. It's 2 minutes before.
Oh, see,
Afternoon.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you.
I see John Rivera coming.
I
to
was
the
gonna
meeting.
say, look who's back, but he's not completely on yet. So
Hey,
let's.
hey, your babies
Hey,
are.
John.
Ron, you're back.
Hello.
Yay. I missed you. I'm the greeter. Welcome.
I get to be a civilian again.
Hi, Carrie.
Yay.
Yay. Hope you didn't just come back from DC.
No, I was already on orders when that mission came down. My unit's over there right now, but I wasn't
But
on.
now it's over there keeping the peace.
Yeah.
Joelle, nice to almost see you. I just see the U of O logo. And Chloe.
Chloe's here. Hi.
Chloe.
I'll introduce Chloe in a bit.
I know you will.
And hi, Paul, welcome. So glad that you were able to make our Zoom meeting.
Nancy Glines is here. I haven't seen you in a while.
Nancy,
Nice to
welcome.
see you.
Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
And there's Susie.
Hi, Anita.
Hi, I'm the greeter. Welcome.
Hello.
Greetings. Greetings from Hogwarts today. In honor of my son's birthday's on Valentine's Day. I always have to explain my virtual background, especially if it's not from Pakistan, which it usually is. But when you said, I mean, I have no real pictures, so I thought something reminiscent of Valentine's Day is reminiscent of my son. He'll be 27 on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
When we went to, because we're both heavy duty Harry Potter fans. And we went to Hogwarts. I'm deep into it. I'm in Hufflepuff. Anybody else here have a house?
No.
Anybody else here have oh, Chloe, you look like you have a Harry Potter house, do you?
My mom's obsessed with Harry Potter. I'm a Hufflepuff also.
What? You're a Hufflepuff. Good.
Yes.
Yeah, I think most Rotarians are probably Hufflepuffs by characteristics. Anybody else here in a Harry Potter house? As we wait for more people to sign on. Hi, Laura. Welcome.
Laura.
Hello.
Jean.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Jean. Welcome. Greetings.
Anita must be greeter.
I am the greeter.
Or you're in a friendly mood.
Hi, Sheryl.
He's always in a friendly mood.
Always in a friendly mood.
It is.
I think Susie is waving at Eugene.
No, I was waving at Sheryl, but I'll wave at Jean.
Oh.
too.
We just wave.
Oh, there's Sheryl
Hi,
waving.
Sheryl.
So you're all over my screen, everybody. You're not the one, you know.
So is Harry Potter a Rotarian?
You know,
Good question.
probably.
Oh my gosh. The Stokes family is here in full
Yeah.
force.
Yeah.
Almost.
How
Well, Dad's
cool
not
to see
here.
Baby Owen.
Yeah.
Carrie Cullen is here.
So
Carrie,
nice
it's
to
so
see
good
you.
to see you.
Thank you. It has been forever. It's busy times.
Yeah.
I
No.
bet.
I'm here daily in a rather empty shell of a building while we conduct online class for 1,500 kids.
Wow.
Ah,
Wow. Well, greetings, Stacey. I mean,
I'm so glad you could make it.
Chris is
Thank you.
just beating me to the punch of greeting people.
Oh, and well, I'm just looking at who's popping in. You know, you
Yeah.
see
but
faces
not
that
a race. Let me.
blast from the past.
John Rivera,
know
it's
where
nice to
John
see
is.
you.
I know.
Yeah.
Welcome, John. Yay.
Good to be back.
Long time.
Yeah. And Lisa, boy, this is just really fun.
It's old home week. Somebody is
Yeah.
back. No?
Hi, Gary.
Hello, where are you?
Hi, Gary. Welcome. Nice to see you
Oh, Gary's
here.
here.
Nice to see you. I'm the greeter, Anita.
Hi, Gary.
Hello, all.
There his voice is.
How are you all? Happy Valentine. Boy, you got a lot of Valentines. You are lucky there, Chris.
I tell you.
Mhm.
I can remember some pretty festive Valentine's decorations at Max in the past. We can get pretty festive.
I bet.
Well, in the future, keep those ideas.
Will we ever get festive again? I don't know.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, we will.
I think so.
I'm going into the dark place these days.
I see that with the castle behind you. Yeah, come
Well,
on.
no, this is actually Hogwarts.
Oh, even darker. Okay.
Well, my son's birthday is on Valentine's Day, and Chris put out the notice to bring something Valentine's Day. And I went to one of the best things. Well, I've done a lot of best things with my son, but one of the fun things I did with him is we went to Harry Potter World in Orlando together a decade ago, right after.
Wow.
it opened.
Had to be fun.
Time flies.
It was. He wore his Gryffindor scarf. I wore my Hufflepuff.
Good.
I have a Valentine to share.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very rare that I would get a Valentine in the mail, but I got a special Valentine this week. Look at
Oh,
that.
from the Deaf
Look
people.
at that. And if you look real close, it's a kiss from
Nice.
Eva, and Owen put his footprint. And then Eva drew a picture.
Cool.
So that's my one and only Valentine, and it's
That's
so
awesome.
special. And thank you so much, Eva.
Nice job, Eva.
And Owen.
You recognize it, Eva?
She loved putting the lipstick
Yes.
on. I'll tell you that much.
Well, it's 12:05, so I'm going to hand over the greeting duties to our
Oh.
president.
All right. And Glenn just showed us his Valentine. Show it again, Glenn.
Oh,
This is my Valentine.
3D, it's actually rolled. They take
If
the,
I had a crystal ball, I'd
Oh,
go, it has
pretty.
something to do with wine.
Jean,
Oh,
Jean
what
and
is Grace showing?
Grace has one and Jean has one.
Yeah.
Grace, you're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Yes, and I'm wearing red, so this has been up in my office this month.
And Jean?
Oh, I was looking in my cupboards and I found this and a whole bunch of little Valentine's hearts. I used to entertain a lot and I thought, oh, okay, this was from, I must have had a Valentine's Day party. So that's what this is left over from.
And save those for next year.
Absolutely.
Anyone else want to share a Valentine theme?
I will.
Okay.
So, so my husband made his like monthly trip to Sweet Life where he stocks up.
Oh, how nice.
And he bought a cookie and he bought it for me to look at to remind me that he loves me because he knows I'm not going to eat it. It's going to sit around for a few more days and then he'll eat it.
win-win situation, yeah.
That's very romantic. Oh, John, sounds like he's asking for something, but when he comes back, oh, he's got his red shirt on, so there you go. Looking festive in Cresswell. Oh, earrings?
No, it's a necklace.
Oh, okay.
I have several, you know.
He's Cupid.
Yeah.
There's no arrows.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and start the meeting. We have a great meeting lined up for you today.
I don't think John
Welcome.
Tanner is here so you'll have to do those duties.
What?
John Fenner doesn't seem to be here.
I'm doing those duties. He already told me about that.
Okay.
So Kate, you want to introduce our outbound student?
Yes.
Yay.
So I know I haven't been on here in a while. Just a quick little update on Youth Exchange. We are going ahead as if this upcoming exchange year will happen. Rotary International has said that they will make a decision by March on whether or not we'll go ahead. It's just tough with not knowing if we're going to have visas, if people will be immunized. There's just a lot of questions, but we are a very gung-ho. We love Youth Exchange Group and we're trying to make it work if we can. So our club is not hosting an exchange student this upcoming year, but an inbound student, but we will be hosting an outbound student from South Eugene High School as we do every year. And I am very pleased to introduce to you the student that we selected. Her name is Chloe, and I'm gonna let her introduce herself. So go ahead, Chloe.
Hi, I'm Chloe. I'm a senior at South Eugene High School. I'm also in immersion. And what else can I say? I'm going to France.
Ooh.
Go. So yeah, nice to meet you guys all.
Well, thanks for coming, and I hope we see a lot more of you, Chloe.
Yeah, hopefully I'll keep sending Chloe the invites to the meetings and she can pop
bet.
up if she doesn't have school Zoom or whatever she's got going on.
Sure.
Parlez-vous français?
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
very bon.
beaucoup.
Poquito, yeah. I got it.
Chloe's been in the French immersion school, so France is a very natural, wonderful choice.
Oh,
for her.
great. Oh, that's awesome. All right, our thought for today is going to be given to us from Laura, by Laura.
Hello. So the thought today is all that we are is the result of what we have thought, by Buddha.
Aha. Think about that in a
Mhm.
positive way.
Meditate on that.
That's so true. Every little thing you think of all your life adds up to where you are right now.
Yeah, we create our own reality.
Yeah, don't we?
Mhm.
We do. All right. Okay, well, I have a poll for you that I'm going to insert right now. Give you a minute to answer it. What's your favorite or would be your favorite Valentine gift? Just want to see where we all think.
Only one?
I think I only made it a one question. You can try to vote for two. I can't remember what I did. I did this a couple days ago.
Just one.
Other is pretty big. I want to know what some of those others are. Chocolate's pretty heavy duty in there.
Diamonds. Diamonds is other.
Oh.
We can,
What I didn't put, Glenn, was wine.
I couldn't
Actually-
write it in. Other is all, it was wine and dinner.
I put
down
other.
I put down other because I would love to have a Valentine, but I don't have one.
Can alone time be another?
Trip somewhere.
Probably.
I put going out for a hike or a trip.
That makes sense. Well, we are kind of a diverse group there. Not too many people like flowers. I like flowers. I didn't vote though. I usually forget to do that. So, okay. Just curious where your minds are. Okay, let's see. Announcements. Next week, John Fanner asked me to gather up a greeter and a thought for the day because he's busy with hospital supplies today. So
I'll do thought.
who
Chris.
said that?
I'll do thought. It's Nick.
Nick. Thank you. And greeter, who wants to get here a little early and greet everybody that comes in.
Oh, great.
Thank you, Nancy. See how easy that was? Okay, any announcements? Nancy does.
Yes, hopefully you all read your spin-off and saw the announcement about the Rotary Trivia Night coming up on March 5th, Friday night. It's going to be a lot of fun and a great way to raise a little bit of money for the Rotary Foundation. You'll notice that all you have to do to pre-register is to call me or send me an email. It's $15 to register, and those people that register will get a bottle of wine delivered to their door for the evening's event. And I'm going to make it easy for all of you. All you have to do is reply in the chat to me that you will be there, and I'll put your name on the list and tell me if you prefer red or white wine. And then you can pay the evening of. So that's all I have to say.
Yeah.
I've already got 2 people registered.
There, I just registered, Nancy.
Are you gonna maybe think about sending a P-mail out the week of, because that same week as a reminder, I think this is a really fun event. And so send out an email blast to everybody.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Good idea. Thank you.
Okay, before I ask for another announcement, I'm going to say hi to Kathy and Tony, who joined us recently and didn't get formally greeted, and we can't have that. So now you are. Any other announcements? Kathy has one.
Okay.
We also, I don't know if Jean may have announced it sooner, but we're going to have our Cooking with Tanya night on March 19th. Has that been announced? And we're going to do the tortilla soup cooking, and everybody will be sent the recipe ahead of time, and they'll go shopping ahead of time, and then we'll all learn how to make margaritas a la Myers, and then we'll make our tortilla soup together. Right, Nancy and Walt are gonna, Nancy and Walt said that they'd show us how to make their margaritas that night too.
Oh, no, no, we didn't. No.
Too late, you are.
You said
No,
you would.
ours is pretty easy. It's tequila mix and tequila.
Well, that's,
I mean, it's the mix and tequila. There's nothing in ice.
You're gonna show us how you make them.
But we can demonstrate.
That's all we want. Yeah, thank you.
You hold your pinky up when you pour the tequila in.
So that's going to be 5 to 7 on March 19th.
That's going to be fun.
Should be.
And if it's really going well, Walt will show us how to do shooters at the end.
Oh.
It's
buy plenty of limes.
It's to celebrate the international programs that we help sponsor, and also to raise funds for the international programs. So thank you.
That's going to be fun. Okay, another announcement.
I'll just do a reminder in case you don't remember, it's Food Box Day.
How many food boxes do we have today that we're delivering? Do you know?
I don't know.
About 87.
There you go.
87 families are going to get fed for a good part of the week because of the work we do. So pat yourself on the back. Just don't throw your arm out, because we have more work to do.
It's just kind of interesting to understand what some of these families are going through. I talked to a mom today who has little ones that are in Head Start, and right now she doesn't have a place to live. She's couch surfing with her children, and she's over in Crescent Lake with her mom temporarily and really needs a food box, but doesn't have the gas to get here to pick up a food box.
Wow.
I mean, it's really, some of these people are in really serious condition, dire straits.
Yeah.
So our food boxes really make a difference for people.
Brings a tear to your eyes sometimes when you're delivering those.
And I just want to give a shout out to, because those people that deliver, including me, we kind of see everybody on the scenes, even in the gym and so on. But I just want to give a shout out to Nancy and Kathy. I think both do this. The day before, they have a lot of phone calls to make and text messages to let the families know that we're coming. And that takes more than 5 minutes. So it takes a village to do all this. So thank you guys for making those phone calls.
Plus all the people that go and get the food and put it in the 87 boxes every other week. I mean, wow. Okay, Grace, do we have Lisa, the board packet is for tonight, to answer your question.
You want me to do Sergeant at Arms?
Yes.
Yeah, I will do that. Yes. Okay. First of all, so Chris put out yesterday or the day before to wear red, pink, and celebrate Valentine's. And if you did not, let's get a $2 donation to the Sergeant at Arms box, please. Like Gary Brown, John Rivera. I know you have an excuse, but pay up. Paul, you probably don't even own pink, do you, Paul? But oh well, just pay up.
You might want to repeat our website, southtownerotary.org. If you go to the
I'll put in the direct link for donations. Okay. No worries. Yeah. In fact, I already sent it to Paul earlier because he wanted to pay last week's, or no, that was John, right? And John did well with the red today, John. Then next to that, I only have asking for happy dollars. Who's happy today? I'm happy. I'm going to put in 5 just to start it off because I see Owen and Eve. Eva and Owen. Love it.
I'm
Go ahead,
happy.
John.
Paul?
I'm happy
Sorry,
because
Paul.
I get my COVID vaccination tomorrow.
Wow, you wait.
And you must be really, really happy. Like, how happy?
I'm really, really old.
So $1 for every year?
Oh, yes.
Give him a heart attack.
Can't blame a girl for trying.
So
Done.
I'm $5 happy that Cheryl is here
Okay.
for the program. I don't know, those of you who are involved in the food boxes, I don't know if you know the enormous amount of food that we've been getting from the mission to help us do that food box program. We would not have been able to do it to the extent that we have without their help. And so I'm very glad to have her here to share what else the mission is doing.
We are so thankful to the mission. Yeah, thank you. And I've been trying to call him John Yapple for all this time.
I was reading the other article the other day, and it showed that in Pakistan in 2018, the polio virus was present in about 13% of the sewer lines, and that's a job I wouldn't want. But now today they've done it, and it's over 70% of polio tested positive in the same test. And I've always been very, very impressed with how you donate 10 vaccines on every club member, and I just think it's great. I'm just sorry they're not, because they had to suspend the inoculations or the polio vaccine. So I would happily give $20 to see polio go back to 13 in Pakistan.
Thanks, John. I will say that I'm not sure about the latter statistics being accurate. I mean, sometimes Pakistan comes up with these statistics so that they could get even more money.
Right, and it was frightening to go that much in 2 years,
Yeah.
but even so, it's still there.
But they also came up with a absolutely outrageous statistic that like almost COVID is gone. I mean, and every single person I know has had it there. So it's not gone.
Yeah.
Do you have a happy dollar, Anita?
I do actually. I will put in 10 happy dollars. First, my son was playing at TPC Las Vegas. So 5 for this one. He was playing TPC Las Vegas and he got a hole in one. And the next day he almost got another hole in one. So that was pretty cool. And then he came back and was in quarantine in Portland, came back on Tuesday to take the tests at the U of O that they said should take 2 days before you hear from it. But he heard last night and he got a negative on his COVID test. So I actually was able to walk up to him and hug him.
Oh, good.
So I'll put in $10.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Nancy Meyer.
Yeah, I've got a happy 5 because 5 of you responded to my plea for pre-registration for our Zoom trivia night. So thank you for those of you who responded already. See, if 10 of you had responded, I would have given them 10.
Yeah, right? Carrie, it's so nice to see you here today. I haven't seen you in forever. Do you have a happy dollar for being here?
Very excited to be here. We have started to see vaccinations happen for 4J staff, so that's pretty exciting. I would say emphasis is on elementary, but because they're going to be in school first, but some of our staff are getting vaccinated, so that's pretty exciting. I may not be able to access the donation site easily, so I'll try to figure that out, but I'm happy to give a happy 5. So
thank you.
Thank you. We're so happy to have you here, and thank you for the work you do.
Thank you. And thanks
Anybody
for
else happy? All right, Madam President, I think we're
All
done
right.
with Sergeant at Arms.
Thank you. Good job. Raised some money. And again, Carrie, just go to our website, southtownerotary.org. And if you hit the membership tab, it takes you right to a happy dollar thing where you can use your handy dandy Visa card and just pay away. It's so handy. All right. The trivia game is brought to you by the district this week. You're going to open your chat box and I'm looking for you to chat to everybody so we can all see it and I can see who gets the answer to this easy peasy question first. And if you get the most at the end of the year, you get the fabulous prize that has yet to be determined, but it'll be fabulous. The question this week is, in District 5110, our district, how many clubs are there? Glenn got it, 65. Glenn got 65. 65 clubs, and they are stretched from Lakeview to Northern California to Ashland to Port Orford to Lincoln City, all the way up to Albany, over to Redmond, Bend. We've got a huge district, and I always thought that just getting us together was a real difficult thing until we heard at a district membership forum from a woman who's the past district governor down in New Zealand, and her district encompassed all the Pacific Islands around there. Talk about distant. So we don't have it so bad, especially with Zoom. Okay, I've got about 3 minutes for you to go into a breakout room. I'm going to set you up in these breakout rooms. And what I want you to talk about today is share with your breakout area group if you knew and what you knew about anybody that had polio. Okay. And there you go. Hi, kitty.
Is where people have been.
That was fast.
Well, we have a program today.
Yes.
This is just
Yeah,
a
but-
little lanyap. If you're from New Orleans, you'd know lanyap means a little something extra. I would like to hear from one person that we haven't heard from that learned or shared something interesting about somebody you knew about polio, with polio. Anybody want to share that hasn't piped up?
Hey, Chris, I got something
Yeah,
short.
Nick.
Back in middle school, a girl that I had gone to school with, her brother ended up having the same schedule as her throughout the entire year to help assist just navigating through school and all of her 7 periods and whatnot. I don't know, it just very much, it seemed like a very hard thing to kind of go through with, especially such a long day at school and having to navigate. In our school kind of had so many levels to it, and it was just a weird layout. So it was kind of harder than normal.
So
Getting around.
even in your generation, so
Mhm.
one of your peers had polio.
Yep.
Wow.
That's pretty unusual.
I mean,
but-
that was the only person I've ever seen, but
Yeah.
back in middle school.
By a show of hands, how many of you do remember somebody in school that was either on crutches or had polio? Most baby boomers do.
In school or when, or we?
Well, I just left it that way, sorry. In school. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to turn it over to Susie now, who is going to introduce Sheryl for the program.
Okay, yes, I'm not muted. So I am very happy to introduce Sheryl Balthrop. She is the executive director of the Eugene Mission. Before she took on that role, she had been practicing business law for 28 years, and she has also served as the chair of the board for the Chamber of Commerce, and she is also a past president of Airport Rotary. She is going to talk with us about some of the complex socioeconomic, political, and behavioral health issues pertaining to homelessness and how the mission is making a difference with innovative and effective services. Their programs have changed rather dramatically, kind of as a result of COVID. It's kind of prompted by COVID, and she'll talk to us a little bit about that as well. So welcome, Sheryl, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. And I just want to say, this group is fun. I'm doing a lot of Zoom meetings, and I think if you all could run them, that would be fantastic, because this is great. I mean, really, really appreciate both the attitude, the heart. I mean, this club is amazing. So thank you for all that you do. And you were talking about patting yourselves on the back. I think more than that is due. I just wanted to give you all a huge shout out for the very pivotal role that this club has played here at the mission and in our community regarding those food boxes. I want to make sure that all of you recognize that you were basically some of the founding partners in our gleaning program at a time when COVID-19 and so much fear and really tremendous need at the very beginning of COVID-19, March and April and beyond, when all services were shutting down, restaurants weren't available, a lot of distribution lines were shut down, your club stepped up and basically became one of the founding folks here at the mission of taking and putting those food boxes together. And I'm not sure of the exact numbers, but I think you guys were putting together those 90 boxes from the get-go. I think Susie, I think you were one of the folks, and Camille were boxing up and getting those out to Head Start. And when you think about the need and to continue that on, I mean, I'm just humbled by you folks. So I want to thank you for doing that, and also for showing, you know, other organizations and other groups a great way to make a difference. So I would give you all an applause here. So thank you for that. I also want to step back just a little bit. It's kind of hard to talk about our programs or what we're doing now, because so much is happening in a time in history when it's hard to have perspective. You know, we are living in a time, you know, people keep throwing around terms like unprecedented, etc. But there is such a strange thing that's happening, you know, politically, socially, economically, health-wise, with all of these things happening. Take Oregon, you know, take the impacts of the wildfire, take the impacts of having been experiencing COVID, being shut down. And then you narrow that focus even more so on some of our most vulnerable folks, the unhoused. And it's very challenging to get perspective on, my goodness, what do folks most need? What are the long-term impacts? How do we emerge on the other side? And we at the mission are very much at the front line of this, but we've been very much trying to keep ourselves open so that we wouldn't become so insulated, that we couldn't keep our eye on the big picture. So I want to try to tell the story with the humility of knowing that we're living through this and we really won't know the story probably for a few years. So our perspective is limited by what we've been going through. And I think all of you might have some perspective by being on the outside and kind of looking in. But I want to back up to basically a year ago when we all first started hearing about COVID-19. I first started hearing about it in Seattle, a little bit of smattering in San Francisco. I heard about it here in the States rather than it occurring internationally. And I think probably everyone's experiences are different. But we actually started exchanging phone calls within the unhoused community about what will happen if this touches the unhoused community. Because we knew that folks that are unhoused are generally in much poorer health, particularly respiratory issues, and also don't have access to sanitation, and also are going to be out in the elements. So when we first started hearing about the symptoms of COVID-19, there was great concern about how it would move through the unhoused community. And the Eugene Mission being the largest shelter in Oregon, we also were concerned that, my goodness, how are we going to care well for folks? I started getting calls almost immediately about what we were going to do to protect our guests, but also to protect the community. Because there were some folks that had a great heart for the unhoused, and there were also folks saying, what are you going to do to keep these folks basically from acting as vectors and infecting us? And it was a difficult time. It wasn't too hard to make the decision very early on that we knew that our volunteers could not be on campus. As painful as that was, and as very, very important that our volunteers serve here. We literally had hundreds of volunteers who are vital to all of our operations. We knew that it was too great of a risk to have our volunteers, both to protect their health, but also to protect the health of our in-house guests. But when we asked our volunteers to step away, we changed operationally, because you have to, again, imagine a time where you go from hundreds of people to basically a very small staff, but the needs of our guests didn't change. We also went to basically a closed campus model. And so when you think about all of the programming and all of the dreams that we had for our guests, this completely changed how we would have the tools to assist. But this is actually where it gets interesting, because you would think that this would pose really tremendous, great hardships. The hardships related to the fears of the unknown and the additional hours that staff were covering, the lack of personal protective gear, et cetera, and our concerns about whether or not our guests would become sick. The blessings, I can honestly say, have far outweighed those burdens. And that's where the big shocker comes for most folks. We had long wanted to do what is called our R-cubed model. It had been basically on a 3-year rollout, which is based on a relational model where we would work closely with our guests to identify their long-term goals and to find out what disconnections existed vocationally, educationally, relationally, et cetera, existed. And to move away from transactional delivery of charitable type approaches, but to really spend time with our guests. Well, when you're in a closed campus, you have a lot of time to spend with your guests. And you also get to interact with guests in a different way. You're no longer having people coming and going. Much like in any very difficult crisis type situation, you bond. There are elements of trust. We saw our guests recognize that our staff were here serving in what could be perceived as a challenging or risky environment. We also had the time to devote to getting to really know our guests personally without, new folks coming in and out, and without having that more, I shouldn't call it disorganized, but there was just more focus on one-on-one type of work. And what we saw is that our guests really bloomed. We saw guests who were stepping into vocational type training roles that we would never have dreamed. I'll just give some individual examples to explain. We had some folks who were, one woman in particular, who was very withdrawn, very limited social interaction. And she just started to come out of her shell, and she asked if she could volunteer some of her time up in the front office, and actually started answering the phone. And something like this is just, you never would have seen. I think she would have just been someone who might have been overlooked. And we saw her through the months of 2020 just grow more and more confident and more outgoing. And actually by the end of 2020, she became able to become much more independent and ended up securing a job and moved out and is living independently beyond the mission. And we could not be happier. So basically the R-Cubed program, which is identifying opportunities for growth and then really partnering with the guests to work with them in that vocational area or to work with them in that educational opportunity, really was tried in the crucible of COVID-19, because instead of people being overlooked, we had the days, day after day, of being on this closed campus to see and to kind of work out some of the challenges. How do we track this? How do we group people? Another thing, of course, that might seem obvious now, but wasn't so obvious then, was that we had a number of larger dormitory settings that, of course, we needed to de-densify with R-Cubed. With R-Cubed with COVID-19, because you cannot have the large congregate settings. That's just too great of a risk from transmission purposes. So when we de-densified, we moved people to small, distanced pod locations. We moved out of our offices and turned office spaces into small living areas, much like college dormitories, for lack of a better description. And previously, we had been uncomfortable in doing this because we didn't have staff to keep eyes on folks. We didn't feel like we had enough oversight. Well, when the numbers went down, we already didn't have the numbers watching over everyone. But what took the place of that were these really close daily interactions with guests that we didn't need to be as watching over them in their sleeping arrangement. And what we found with the small pod arrangements is, as you can anticipate, people sleep better. People feel more comfortable. Their general overall health in other ways improved because they were getting better rest. They started to interact with their pod mates in a much more healthy manner. You're not as closed off like many guests would be in a larger dormitory setting. And these are things that we are very excited about continuing. It requires a level of independence and trust, because we aren't in a position to staff each one of those pod type arrangements with someone, checking in regularly. But it can be done when you have folks that are moving into more and more of an independent living arrangement. And that's what we want to see. We want to see folks moving first from crisis into more and more of a situation where they're ready to rejoin community. On the class front, this was the challenge, because this was where we had hoped to have the really great interaction with community partners coming in and teaching classes in various disciplines. And that's where we're really excited. I'm sure all of us are excited about getting past COVID-19. But right now we're using this time to identify where are the greatest needs of our guests. Not what do we think they need, but what do they need? And it really is very individually driven. You know, many times people think, well, it's just a financial readiness or work readiness, but we're finding that it can depend on the individual, that it might be basic cooking skills. It might be apartment maintenance. It might be addressing hoarding issues. So we're trying to gather that information and get really well versed on what the most helpful areas are and develop curriculums around that. And then to go out and say, hey, can we put together a volunteer corps of instructors to help us in these areas? Because we are finding that it's not the exact match of what we thought before. And we're also finding that movement type engagement is absolutely critical. As we've gone through COVID-19, we found that the walking, you know, the gathering where there's some sort of physical component has really added to the overall well-being of our guests. So that is going to be a big part of the curriculum as well. So we're excited about that. And one of the things that's been, many things that go through my mind, something that I think is really important for any entity that's providing services to vulnerable folks is to track it and to know that when someone comes to us, their condition is X, and that when that person leaves, that they know, have they helped that person improve? And to track that across spectrum. So it's not just, has that person been able to get housing, or has that person just been able to get a job, but have we helped that person have healthier relationships with family members or friends? Have we helped that person renew relationships with medical providers, you know, across the spectrum, because it's so important to us that all of those areas of well-being are addressed, because a breakdown in any one of those areas can cause that person to fail even after they've regained independence. If one of those areas becomes highly problematic, they can fall out of community and end up unhoused again. And we're so convinced that we need to approach the person from a holistic approach and support that so that this cycle doesn't repeat over and over. And we also are, as we're going through, again, COVID has helped us really focus in on what is needed long-term. And we believe too, it's not just all of those things, it's also providing the long-term mentoring type support, the alumni type support, the traditional role of a shelter, an emergency shelter such as ours, is to just, they leave your doors and you don't think about it anymore. Our job is done. That's very short-sighted. I think one of the best things that we can do is we have relationships, or should have relationships, with employers, with organizations, with churches, is that while our guests are here with us, is to work on developing those relationships so that when our guests are ready to rejoin community, they've saved up enough money, they've improved their mental or physical health, etc., that those mentorships, those supportive relationships are already in place so that they have that network around them, but also that they know that they have a supportive group here that's cheering them on at the mission. That if they start to struggle with addiction, etc., they can pick up the phone. That it's not just, hey, I hope it works out for you, good luck to you type of thing. That we want to have this continuing support arrangement, because as all of us know, it's that network of support that we all need. And I was just going to give a real quick shout out to Chloe, the exchange program, exchange students. I was an exchange student. My son was an exchange student. We've hosted exchange students. I routinely use exchange students and the whole experience of being an exchange student as providing helpful analogies as to what it takes to rejoin a community, the challenges of having stepped out of a community, and what it takes to rejoin a family after disconnection. And so another big shout out to Rotary for providing really healthy examples of what it takes to be fully integrated. And I think that's actually an encouragement to our guests that something is not wrong with you when you need the support of an organization or of additional training, etc., to make that reintegration possible and effective. So I'm going to fast forward here. I could go on all day, and sorry, I'm wandering around. It's having lived this, I actually moved down to the mission to support our staff going through this and support our guests. We were blessed to not have anyone test positive from the beginning of it until December. And we never once let up on any of our sanitation, our distancing, our masking, etc. But we started to feel like we saw light at the end of the tunnel, that we were somehow going to make it through. And then it hit. We had, I'm sure you might have heard, we had 99 positive cases here at the mission. 99, 2 staff members, but 99 guests. And all of our hearts basically fell through the floor. When you have numbers like that, it's actually one of the largest outbreaks in a congregate setting, ratio-wise. It is not a number any organization wants to have. And nothing can truly prepare you for the needs of isolating and quarantining and feeding separately and managing that from an individual basis. And again, you do the very best you can, because these are very vulnerable folks, and putting them out on the street is also not a great option. But I can tell you, we had a very few that had mild symptoms, headaches, a little bit of fatigue. Almost all were asymptomatic. I know I cannot account for that, and I'm not discounting the horrible, tragic situations for most, but we were so blessed to have a mild situation for our guests. And through the month of January, we've been tested over and over and over. We've had negative tests for everyone since then. And we've also been very blessed that our staff was recently vaccinated. So we're very thankful for that. But I cannot account for how well our guests made it through COVID-19, but we're certainly very grateful. But that certainly made it a little bit challenging to operate too. But I can tell you, I'm just very grateful for the support of this community. We wondered how the community would react when they heard about the outbreak. And I can tell you, I expected the phone to be ringing or something terrible to be happening. And we only felt love and support by the community, and I will be eternally grateful. I was very concerned about how our guests would be perceived, or even how the broader unhoused community would be perceived. And we were very much supported. So very grateful for that. That has been our experience. Going forward, we continue to be excited about the opportunities for our guests. That all of our guests, just like I'm sure all of you, are fatigued with the requirements of COVID-19. We still have a highly restricted campus, still observing very, very restricted measures to protect our guests and others. But we are so looking forward to the day that we can welcome folks back on campus. We're continuing with our programs and our development. We are developing a learning and meeting space to further facilitate the vocational training that we plan to do with our guests. And someday I actually hope to have all of you visit when it's safe to do so and to see the exciting things that are happening with our guests. Right now, the space is being used actually to educate. Kids are doing distance learning from our Women's and Children's Center when we've had children doing distance learning, as well as the children from of some of our staff who are doing their distance learning here. We've set up computers on site so there can be a bit of a mix of a world there to try to provide as much support as possible. So with that, I just want to thank this club for your support and how you've really modeled what it means to continue to serve in a very difficult time. Really appreciate you all. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I was looking at all the faces. Everyone was just riveted, Sheryl. We do support you in our hearts as well as in the work that we do. You're more than a partner for our club. You're part of who we are and who we care about deeply. I liked what you said that there were benefits that came out of the COVID experience. And I've found that in the way our club has been forced out of our comfort shell to do things, and it hasn't all been bad. So I'm thinking that there may be some questions. Knowing this chatty group, I'm hoping you can stay for a moment because I want to wrap up the meeting for those that can't. And then I'll open it up to questions, okay? But Sheryl, in thanks for our speakers giving a program, we donate 10 vaccinations for polio. And in your name, we will be giving 10 vaccinations for polio. We're still bent on eradicating this vicious disease worldwide. You all talked about some of the experiences you've had with polio or seen or shared with other Rotarians that had been there and seen it. Next week, our program is going to be headed up by Jean Stover and Kathy Hoffer. We are going to get an update of our own international projects. So this club is very invested in the community, but we are invested in the rest of the world as well. So I want to thank you all for coming, and look at there. I'm 3 minutes early. Why don't we take a question or two before I ring that bell?
Can I just say something? Yeah, really quick about next week. I really encourage everyone to come because there's going to be a special presentation from the Project Amigo high school student, and she's making an extra effort to Zoom in, and we'll hear directly from her. So it's a rare opportunity. So please join in and tell anyone else that you know.
And for those of you that don't know how great that program is, you'll get the rest of the story. Susie, you had your hand up.
Yeah, Sheryl, I am hoping that you can provide a brief description of what the program changes pre-COVID to post-COVID, what that boils down to in terms of how it looks.
Well, we thought we would be serving fewer people, and we're actually serving exponentially larger. So how that looks is we're serving our folks here on campus on a closed campus, but we're doing the mobile outreach. As you probably all have gathered, you know, LCC, their culinary program shut down, a number of restaurants have shut down, but their food ends up here at the Mission. So we are doing our best to get that food out to a variety of wildfire survivor sites, to a variety of supported camping sites, et cetera, for the unhoused. And whereas we used to serve a large number, about 800 folks in day services. Now our mobile outreach is serving a much larger, it varies on any given day, but it's exponentially larger of folks that we're actually serving meals to, which is just boggles my mind, because you think that fewer folks, and it's our staff and organizations like you that are making this possible. And then, like I mentioned earlier too, it's at a time too when it's so hard for folks to get those bottled waters, those packaged meals, and it's difficult to have access. And of course, economically, folks are really struggling right now. So we feel blessed to have this abundance of food that our staff is delighted and our guests are happy to work on, and passes those hours well.
That's great.
And so that's on the food front. And we're trying to do that in other areas as well with our clothing resources, and to our donation site is still open. We have basically a contact-free donation site, and we have just been receiving large amounts of things. So we're trying to be much more creative in how we resource vulnerable individuals. We are resourcing not only the unhoused, but folks that have been really displaced by, like I said, wildfire and COVID impacts. And of course, keeping our primary focus on the unhoused, but supporting folks that are seeking new homes, etc. And so we will work with other community providers to support that through the local 211 and other programs.
Thank you, Sheryl. If you will all join me in giving a round of applause to Sheryl. And Sheryl will ask you to stay in case somebody does have a question, but I am going to ring the bell so people can go. Thank you for being here, and thanks for that program again, and open it up to questions.
Go ahead.
You mentioned that you expected the prevalence of COVID to be worse in your population, and it ended up actually being better than the general population, their reaction to it. What do you attribute that to?
Well, I would just be speculating, so you have to base it on that. I would say that many of our guests, when they are unhoused, of our guests, are rather distant, that are camping further apart from individuals. And there's been a progression that early on, my perception, uninformed perception, was that it was many folks experiencing COVID were traveling or were having interactions with other states, etc. Our guests were not on planes, were not in large group gatherings, etc. They were trying to make it by day. So I think probably it might have actually hit the unhoused community later, perhaps. There's also there was many people were wondering whether or not COVID actually had hit the community very early on, say March or April, and had gone undiagnosed. We did have folks who were in poor health early in the spring who presented with what I thought were COVID-like symptoms, and we could not get them tested. And that was alarming for our staff, who was wheeling people up to the front door. And the folks, again, were presenting with low oxygen, breathing issues, fevers, the whole bit. But they were never tested. So there you go.
I have a question, Sheryl. Thank you for a great presentation and certainly weathering this challenging year. So I know it's a closed campus and probably will be for a while, but are you accepting any new participants at all into the program, or when do you anticipate you might accept new program participants?
We are on an individual basis bringing folks into our addiction recovery program, but we're doing screening to know that they have been, COVID, they've been tested for COVID, etc. We're also reaching out individually to guests that have previously left the mission. We do plan on opening our rescue center, and we'll do it in basically batches of 14-day batches so that we don't restart any type of potential infection. Because we don't know what's happening in the broader community, but there are probably over 9,000 unhoused folks that are in desperate need of shelter and services. So we feel absolutely called to start bringing folks in, but need to do that in a way that is somewhat safe and measured. We already have the quarantining and isolation processes set up. So I'm anticipating we'll be doing that relatively soon.
Great, thank you. Well, kudos to you. And it's so great to be partnering with you guys.
Yeah, and thank you, Sheryl, for the awesome job you're doing there with the mission. You've got a great team of people. I look at Nick all the time and the videos he does is just so great. You got Beth Sheehan and a slew of other people that can't rattle their names off of, but you obviously put together a team, and then having your own clients pitch in and as they grow, they're helping be that team. I mean, that's just the biggest success story one could, hope for, ask for.
Yeah.
Sheryl, are you a member of Rotary?
I was.
Because we'd love to have you join our group if you're interested.
Thank you. And my parents were Rotarians too. I have to say, I could come from the lineage.
Yeah, we'd love to have you.
Thank you. Thank
you.
You
have the heart.
All right. I don't want to go on. I was just going to say that we have considered it a tremendous privilege to serve. If you were to walk around our campus and talk to our staff, there's nowhere else we would rather be. And just talking to our guests, each day they say, thank you for being here. I know this sounds terrible, but I'm going to look back on 2020 and maybe 2021 as maybe some of the best years of our lives. I really believe that. It's been hard, but it's been years of meaning. We all wish to serve in times, that test our mettle and test, are you really there for people? And it's going to be hard to just have a regular year, maybe.
Well, there is no normal, so
maybe it's all good then.
Yeah. Who knows what the next challenge will be, but it really has been testing times, trying times, and it's fun to have that challenge. We can't be complacent.
Yeah, for sure. And you definitely have learned new ways of being. So that's inspiring. Well, I'm off to do food boxes again soon, and Kathy is too.
Thanks for your work on that, Kathy.
Yeah.
I'll try to make it back in time for afternoon for our board meeting tonight.
Right.
Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Carrie.